Groaners, here we come again to slide down the slippery slope into the gaping ravine that is the Groan Zone. Apologies, we're recording on a Sunday and it's late, so there's no live audience, so it is just me, Groaners. So the games are going to work a little bit differently, and I really need to work on informing people when I'm going to record late. My bad. Episode 134 is crammed full of games, groans, and content such as Oh Unlucky and Zero of the Week, and games such as Yes or BS and Talking Nonsense. There'll be no picture game this week because of something else, and that's coming up right now. Because before we move the show on, I must pay tribute to a fallen friend. I may get choked up here because I sure did when I was writing it earlier on in the week. My friend Omar was a doctor in a past job I had. Mid-COVID, he went off abroad to help less advanced countries with medicine. He was such a noble soul and so helpful. He even helped me train and carry out my last charity bike ride, shaving 3 hours of my previous 9-hour time. 60 miles on a bike is hard when you don't cycle every day. He never left my side, sharing advice, telling when to rest, and providing energy tablets, etc. over a course of 6 hours. Sadly, I found out recently that he died in a car crash in Africa, where he was helping medically. I still do not know all the details. All I hope is that he felt no pain and that it was quick. I'd much rather he was still here with us. Fly high, Omar. Your colleagues and myself will miss you forever. Rest in peace and power, my friend. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Groaners, for listening to the tribute. There will be a picture tribute on the episode website within Podbean. Unfortunately, it won't show up on all of the platforms. It just shows up on Podbean and the Facebook group as well. It won't be on the Facebook group, but it will be on the Podbean website. In light of this, there'll be no picture game. Like I said, there will be a photograph of him on the website instead. As thanks for listening, to kick the show off, I'll let the audience Groan lead the show. Your audience Groan this week comes in from Barnibus of Ohio this week via Discord. And he groans, when you're eating in a restaurant or wherever and servers or people come up to you asking if you are enjoying it. Let me put some food in my mouth first and I'll let you know. I'm sure I've raised this before, Barnibus, but we think alike it seems. I feel your issue with this. I find they also come to you when you've got a gob full of food, so you can't really reply apart from go, Good groan. If you're there to take part and contribute like Barnibus did, you can use in any one of the following ways. You can send an email off to thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. You can search for us on Discord or the Groan Zone, where as well as leaving groans, etc. You can play along live, usually at 8:30 PM Greenwich Mean Time. You can find myself, Mystery Groaner, or Admin Nicole, that's Nicole Amos, on Facebook Messenger. You can even join us on Facebook groups under the Groan Zone podcast. Drop us some comments on the platform you listen to us on, as well as dropping us some love, as it does help. Could we also ask if you could follow us on Podbean or YouTube, because that actually also really helps. Your contributions are always welcome, Groaners, like I've always said. Let's have it now with a game in the form of the 5-point countdown. I'll be doing the game answers after each game or round this week, Groaners, as I've said, because the format's a little bit different, so it might seem a little bit weird to you. Here we go. Clue 5 for 5 points. I involve serving, but I'm not a waiter. I involve serving, but I'm not a waiter. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Clue 4 for 4 points. I have many brands and many types. I have many brands and many types. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Clue 3 for 3 points. I can be used in either hand. I can be used in either hand. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Clue 2 for 2 points. I am used in different styles and techniques. I am used in different styles and techniques. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Clue 1 for 1 point. I could be used in self-defense, but really, I only hit a ball. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause, because the game answer is next. And you need to look together, Groaners, as it was pretty hard. The answer was a tennis racket. And well done if you got it there at any point there. But remember, if you've changed your answer, then changed it back, you don't get accumulated points. You only get the points of where you got it from originally, or where you got it, where you changed it again. And speaking of luck, it's time for Oh Unlucky! I couldn't resist putting this in. I was standing outside my local Morrison's, ringing my dentist earlier this week. The issues go on with my teeth, as always. And suddenly, I hear a 4-star swear word coming out of a woman's mouth. I turned around, and the same woman had asked her mum if a seagull had dropped poo on her head. Groaners, it hit the back of her head and the back of her dress, and was running down her back. It looked like she was dressed up to go somewhere. I didn't know if I should laugh, or feel sympathy, or both. She was definitely unlucky, and the seagull did one hell of a shot. Poor woman. But now, the floor is now darkened, and handed to Admin Nicole for her creepy corner. She brings us another story, and the story for episode 134 is called One Final Secret, One Final Plan. The room was large and silent. Everyone sat around a large white table in this windowless room. Nothing but them, a table, chairs, and a large computer system covering one wall of the room. Also a siren, a lone siren there on the ceiling that they couldn't help but stare at. They had to make a plan. This was their final stand. Either they save the world or die. Everyone had different thoughts in their minds. Damien wanted to never leave Valencia's side again. The old man wanted revenge on those who dared kidnap and experiment on his family. Valencia was sad she never got to explore and see more of this world. Viola wanted some cake or food. It's typical Viola. They had skipped lunch for this after all. Even the dead had to eat. The silence was disrupted by Grimm, standing at the head of the table, ready to address everyone. All that was wrong with this world, the Great War, the death of nature even despite the successor, maybe even some of the events before that, the downfall of man, greed, depravity, power, all of it could easily be put down to the humans, but if the fates were truly behind all of this, then they were the whispers in the wind, the shadows in hiding, amplifying the darkness that had already lived in their hearts. The darkness should have been a place of comfort, safety, as it still is for those who live in the night, yet for some, it has become corrupt. First point of call, find out where the last two primals are and figure out if the fates are with them. They also don't know what form the fates have now taken. When Grimm last saw them, all those years ago, they were no longer blind. Each stole eyes from the world of man. Now able to see all, past, present and future. If only he realised back then how truly dangerous that made them. So they find them, then what? This was the issue with plans. Their plans only really got up to finding the thing or person they were looking for, and then hoping someone would go berserk and put an end to it. Usually that person was Valencia, their most powerful ally and in some ways weapon. Not this time. Enough was at stake. They needed a real plan. Their enemies were going to be ready. The mayor, weak but smart. The other two primals, Light and Life, both powerful, but Life was extremely dangerous to the point that even Light was afraid of him. The fates were probably behind his drastic change in his powers. How could they fight blood? Well, a lot of them were dead now, so that sort of helped. That was a step in the right direction, but even the dead still had blood, which still kept them in danger. Plus, there was no way Ivy or Foam was going anywhere near. Grim would keep them safe in his facility. Nowhere safer than a building full of the dead after all. So the plan, find them, then what? Sneak attack maybe? No, they would be seen coming. The possibility of traps would have been pretty high too. This is when they learned just how bad at making plans they really were. Then that weird siren on the ceiling started screaming, jolting Grim out of his chair and causing him to run to that computer system. Danger was afoot. The sirens Grim had in his facility were for major accidents. However, this time instead of being worried, he was annoyed. There was a major accident in a village on a mountain not far away. Grim was annoyed by the amount of times he warned them to not mess with a living mountain, especially when their homes rest on it, but sometimes they didn't listen. Seemed like some kids angered the mountain and they dropped a boulder on the village, destroying half of it. This was about the third time this year. It happens often with a village. This was a high alert for Grim. He changed forms and apologised to everyone. The plan was important, but so was his job. Damien had to go with him. Viola had to return to the other Death Maidens and gather as much information on all those who were lost. A count had to be made. The Reapers would have a long night ahead of them, dealing with so many souls. This left Valencia, Vega, and the old man alone in the room. Their final plan is the same as always, even though they tried to make a new one this time. Out of nowhere, Vega asked Valencia to pull out the badges left behind from the Metal 3. He should have told us sooner, but he didn't know how. When Grim found them, they were covered in a layer of dust, but not from the caves they were in. It was so extremely rare, but a star can fall without Vega or Valencia knowing. That star can't live long outside the sky, so it tells a story, whatever the finder wants, and then grants a wish, and dies. Stardust is what their badges were covered in. The Metal 3 wanted the truth of their existence and Valencia's, and upon finding that truth they asked to return what she unknowingly gave them. Listen to me close, my dear. No matter what happens, you are this world's final hope. You are the one thing that the fates can't touch. I realized the truth about what you are when I saw the stardust covering the badges. When the old world was destroyed, and this world built in its image, one thing was opposed to it and broke through the barrier. At the very end of life itself, before a new world is born, there exists what is known by legends as the dying embers of the flame of life. Something I didn't even know was real. Legends call this starlight. That one piece of starlight saw the injustice done to the old world and broke through the barriers just in time instead of dying with it. Somehow it formed a shell around itself, forcing itself into this world's rules and cosmic laws, which in turn give the piece of starlight a body, a home, a family, even albeit not a very good one. An hourglass with no sand because it wasn't human. The power consumed in doing so must have damaged it, wiped all its memories, or maybe that was done on purpose to ensure no one would ever find it. An untapped power that none could ever rival. That's what you truly are. The burning embers of a dying world refusing to die right at the very last second in order to protect those who were wronged. You give a part of that power to the Metal 3 without knowing it. That's what brought them to life. They knew you would need all your power back and returned it to you, even knowing what it meant for them. Yet you, my sweet daughter, have unknowingly placed a massive cosmic burden on yourself, in a choice you don't even remember making. If all else fails, we will have to rely on you one last time. You do not belong to this world, so you are the one creature in all existence that the fates can't touch. You are the fires of the reunion, and through you, one way or another, this world will burn. Never fear what you are. I will protect you. Both your fathers will protect and love you. Right to the very end, Vega explained. Whew, Nicole, is this the pinnacle towards the crescendo of this story arc? You're very talented and are keeping us all entertained and enthralled. Give us more. But that'll have to wait for next week, Groaners. Anyone for a game of Yes or BS? I'm game, so here we go. Round 1. A polymath is someone who can use shapes to figure out mathematical problems. B. A multi-potentialite is someone who is unreadable when trying to predict what they are good at doing. Or C. Duplex or duplex is a term for double-sided. Groaners, pick what you think is not BS and pause, then unpause. And now, I'm going to give you the answers to see if you got a point or not. If you went for A or B, you're wrong, Groaners. And they actually mean the same thing. Someone who has a wide range of skills. If you went for C, that's true, and you have 1 point. Round 2. A. There is no such sports event as a quadathlon. B. The hamster dance used a version of the whistling song from the 1973 animated Disney film Robin Hood. Or C. There were only ever 3 Centurions in the cartoon Centurions Power Extreme. Pause here, Groaners. Have a think. Pick what you think is not BS. Then unpause. If you went for A and C, they are both false, Groaners. And if you had points or a point, you don't now. Just like a triathlon with 3 sports events, a quadathlon has 4. The Centurions had 2 more Centurions who joined them in later seasons, that's 5. If you want to get technical though, they had Crystal on Skyvault and Jake's dog Shadow, so really you could say 7. Round 3. A. Equidistance is a term used when 1 point is at the same or equal distance from 2 given points. B. Ganymede is a type of gemstone. Or C. Tungsten's symbol on the periodic table is Tu. Pause again, Groaners. Have a think. Answer what you think is not BS. Then unpause. If you went for B or C, Groaners, you've been point blanked. They are not true. Ganymede is one of the moons of Jupiter and happens to be the biggest moon. Tungsten's symbol is actually a W. And A is true. If you didn't choose A, then again, like I said, Groaners, you've now got no points. Ouchie. But look, next week, if you got blanked, we must now look into something which makes us go, what the? Just this week, there was an instance of speeding on a road in Connacht, Switzerland. It's not the first time it's happened with this kind of offender too. It happened in 2018. The offenders were ducks who had a set of speed cameras set off with their fast flying. The duck this week set off the cams when it flew 52 km per hour in a 30 km per hour zone. Even I didn't know mallards or ducks could fly that fast. Very respective, but still, setting off speed cams. Come on, Daffy. Definitely a what the indeed. Oh my. So late in the show, I almost forgot my groans. Here we go. Chewing gum on bus seats. Okay, clearly you are a lemon and cannot be bothered to put your gum in a bag or something. You leave it for some poor sod like me to sit on. It's a nightmare to get off clothing. Thank God none of it got in hair. Hasn't happened recently, but has in the past. Bin your gum. And also, I don't want to see you open mouth chewing it like a slack-jawed yokel. People who don't wear sunscreen when it's advisable to. I hate to sound like a nanny here, but protect your skin because the sun can do more harm than good. I know you want to work on your tan, but wouldn't you rather not get sunburn or worse? Respect the giant fireball. Content stealers. YouTube personalities or clip shows often work bloody hard to get their content, and it nets them a decent and nice follow community. Along comes a lazy SOB who cannot be bothered and just steals the content and tries to voice over it to make it look like theirs. They then wonder why they get a lawsuit and banned in some cases. Don't content steal, Groaners. It's not big, and it sure isn't clever. That's my groans out of the way this week, so that means it's time to flip things in reverse with talking nonsense. Round 1. I make things taste better, but I'm not always on your table. Your nonsense is gush. Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. What could the nonsense be? And now I'm going to tell you what it is. Your nonsense was sugar, Groaners. Round 2. I am a treat, but you can also make me at home with many toppings. Your nonsense is skate. Pause here, Groaners. Have a think what the nonsense could be. Answer, then unpause. Your nonsense was cupcakes. Round 3. I can be part of a balanced breakfast. Your nonsense is Irish. Pause again, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Your nonsense was cereal groaners. And with that, we flip the show over to Zero of the Week. We have found a total floundering fluffhead this week, groaners. On the 5th of April this year, a delivery driver thought it'd be a great idea to steal a canine tribute statue in Arkansas, America. It's not your property, greaseball. You need to return it. Stealing of any kind brands you zero status on this show. When they catch you, I hope they throw the book at you. Well, groaners, that brings us to the end of another show. Apologies again for the lateness. Hopefully you did score points and had fun along the way. Take care. Bye-bye. The hamster danced, done it again. The burning embers of a dying world refute